Hi everyone, in this video we will talk about parallel processing with R. So parallel processing is a powerful tool which can save a lot of time for us when we want to do multiple tasks at the same time. And before start doing that, we need some basic understanding about CPU, socket, core, and logical processor. For example, in this screenshot of my computer configuration, my CPU has four sockets, 112 cores, and the number of logical processor is two times the number of cores. And in another computer, I has only one socket, 10 cores, and 12 logical processor. So the number of logical processor is not always two times the number of cores as shown in this case. And here's the figure describing what is CPU, socket, and core. For example, here I have a CPU with four sockets, or also called four processors. And in each socket, I has two cores. And this is the physical core, the one that you can touch and see. And in each core, I have two virtual core. So we also call logical processor. So the number of logical processor basically tell us how many tasks we can done at the same time on this core. For example, with this core, with one core, I can do two computation at the same times. And parallel processing in R. So first, not all tasks can be split into independent tasks. For example, in this case, first we are given a task and we need to know that whether we can split the task into multiple independent tasks. If yes, then we can use parallel processing. If not, then we cannot. In this example, I have the main task and it can be split into seven independent tasks. And here, for each independent task, I can send to a cluster of seven logical processor, or I can also call threads in here, seven threads. So logical processor and threads, you can also use the two terms. And then I run it in parallel, and then I got the result in here from different logical processor. And now let's do a very simple exercise, given a matrix of 30 rows and 3 columns. Now let's calculate the mean of each row in parallel. And so in the first exercise, simple just for us to understand how does the parallel processing in R work. And in the second exercise, we are given a vector of positive integer number, and we want to check which numbers are prime numbers in parallel. And the link that I use in this tutorial is in the video description. Now let's open RStudio. And here my RStudio. So for this exercise, we need to install the foreach and the doParallel package. So you click here, package, install foreach, and install, and then you install the do parallel. Click here, install. I already installed, so I don't need to install again. And then we can load the two packages. Control enter, control enter. And now I want to know how many cores I have. I use this function. You can paste it here and search for help, control enter. So the detect cores functions is in the parallel package, and we don't need to install the parallel package because the parallel package is installed when you install R. So for for my R version in here, I have R version 4.4.1, so the parallel package is automatically installed when I install R. But for much earlier R version, maybe you need to install it somewhere. So now let's see how many cores I have. 12. Logical true. It means that here I have 12 logical cores or threads, but I just want to know the physical core. False. 10. So I have 10 physical core. It means that some core just have one logical core, and some cores have two logical core. So true. So it means that I can form a cluster of maximum 12 logical core, but I'm not going to use all because my computer needs some cores for doing some background tasks. And now let's create an example of a matrix which has 3 rows and 30 columns. Control Enter. Here's my metric. So 3 columns, 30 rows, and now we need to calculate the mean of each rows. So first, we need to make a cluster. So my cluster, let's say, consists of 2 logical cores. So here, cluster CL is cluster, and the make cluster here, you can search for help in here. So when we do this, R will copy, some copy of R will be sent to the logical processor. Control Enter. Okay, I already make a cluster which consists of 2 logical core, and now I need to register doParallel. Click here, search for help. Here you can read the manual. So basically I register the parallel backend with the foreach package. In short, I say that the foreach can use this cluster for doing some parallel work. And the foreach, click here. Let's see help. So the foreach belongs to the foreach package. And do in here is doParallel. Do in here is do in sequence. But here we are doing in parallel. So calculate the mean here. We want to have the loop from 1 to number of row of this metric. Control Enter. So we have 30 rows, and we want to combine the result into a vector. Let's say copy here. So if I equals to 1, the mean of the first row is this. A row up, and you will see this one 2. So I equals to 2, we will have the mean of the second row. And if seen here, it means that we combine this result into a vector. And now let's run it. Control Enter. We forgot to run one of the command in here. Okay, now we have the vector of 30 elements. So the mean of 30 rows. And here, if we want to combine to row, here you can search in here for each for help here. Control Enter. So I have 30 row. If I want to combine to a column result to a column, see I have 30 columns. Result 30 is mean that the mean of the 30 rows, 30 rows. And then at the end we need to stop the cluster. And in the second example, we are given some integer numbers, which is quite big in here, 4 numbers, and we need to write a function. So for the first example, the function is in R already, the mean function. We don't need to write. But for the second example, It's more complicated, and normally we need to write a function to check if a number is prime number. Here the function, you can copy it, control enter, for example here is prime. I check it, prime 3 not a prime number. 5 3 is a prime number, 5 prime number, 6. Let's try this function, not a prime number. And now let's say that we want to run two tasks in parallel. So we want to check two numbers at once. So make a cluster in here. So we copy R running in parallel and communicating over sockets. And then same as before, register doParallel. And now here I run from 1 to length of in number which is 4, and I combine the result into a vector. For it, control enter. Okay, now I have the result. This is prime number, this is not a prime number, and this is also not a prime number. And then I need to stop the cluster. Okay, and there's many options to fine tune the, for example, the output in here, and you can read in the help window in here. So thank you for your attention. Now let's move to the next video.